My name is Nuruddin Omar, and I'm the founder and CEO of MasterRemit. MasterRemit started to solve a problem through my family. Once upon a time, one of my family didn't have the opportunity to send money 24/7. So we decided to build MasterRemit to allow people like my community, anyone who's having problem financial inclusion, to send money to anywhere, in particular in African countries, through a mobile wallet 24/7, either downloading a website or an app from the app stores.
Amazing, amazing. And before now, you came to start MasterRemit. So a bit of a background.
Yeah.
What is your background, and how come you thought about fintech? But before we get to MasterRemit, what is a bit of your background?
So I came. We migrated to Australia at a very young age. I did my schooling all the way to university. I did a Bachelor of Computer Science. I did a Master of Information Technology. Then I got a job in a corporate world as a software engineer and software developer. Then moved my way to more IT management, becoming an IT portfolio lead, working in either public sector and private sector. And then before I started doing a hustle job, which was to start MasterRemit.
Amazing. And back then, for maybe an immigrant, maybe you can give us a background, which African country you come from. Was it easier to penetrate in the corporate world as in IT, maybe? How was it back then?
When we migrated here in the 90s, I think there was less African people, I would say. The high school that we went to, there was zero Africans, just me and my brothers, I remember. I'm talking about early 90s, right? So it was a little bit tough to actually be part of the culture, to be part of the whole mainstream. So it was a little bit tough at the moment, but also working. I remember when I went to uni, I think there was not a lot of Africans studying at uni, so also less. Also that was tough. Then I finished uni. That's when the whole African migration started. Then when I went to corporate job, working in a corporate job, there was not a lot of African works in the corporate jobs as well. So every time that I moved to new place, there was less African migrants working in that space. So definitely, I think now seeing that there's a lot of talented African skilled people working in the most of professionals, most industry. So, but back then it was a little bit tough for my family and more for myself and my brothers as well.
Amazing. And what are maybe some of the challenges? Now, maybe we can see, because where there's a challenge, then you become a problem solver. What are some of the challenges, maybe top of your mind, that you faced during your uni and maybe getting to the corporate sector?
I think one of the most challenging is trying to hit the ceiling, right? You know what I mean, right? So there was less people like us who were working in a corporate. So it's a little bit tough for me to be able to tell who I am. But I think I was one of the few lucky ones, I could say, because as soon as I did my Master's in Information Technology, I was out of job. I was only looking for a job for 2 months. Yeah, only looking for 2 months, right? So then I ended up doing contracting. So you remember, fresh uni, don't have experience, and again, getting a contracting job. So I did a contracting job, which I did quite well. I think the delivery was very successful. Then that's how my career ladder kicked off, right? Just being persistent, hard working, but definitely, as a young African background working in a corporate world, there was the population was young as African, connecting with the mainstream was a little bit tough at the moment, but definitely there's something that I always want to share that. But if you believe yourself and understand who you are and what deliveries that you can do, you can definitely do well. I think the self-confidence is the most important part.
Amazing. And today we want to talk to our African brothers, young African people, young African brothers wanting to go to the IT sector and climb up the ladder. You've been there.
Yes, I did.
What are some of the things you can give them, some tips for them to prevail and be able to climb that ladder easily?
So I would say if you are under 30, don't think about money. Invest yourself.
Okay.
Money will come later. Money will come later. So the first things that I would advise young people is to invest themselves. Money will follow you. If you high skill, high talented, and you are delivering and of course, and have got the most skill in your group, then money will follow you. So if you're under 20, under 30, don't think about money. Just improve yourself. Do self-development. Read as much books as you can. Then if you're under 40, then you can think about it. What, if you want to make good money, what the special skills that you should have. And if you're over 40, then you think about it, what if you want to be an entrepreneur and how do you want to do, move forward. But if you're under 30, just don't think about money, just improve yourself.
Amazing. And we've seen African people from African background. This is just corporate advice.
Yeah.
They shy away from such big, IT, doctors, pilots. What are you going to tell our young ones? Is it an easier field to go into, and should they go to IT jobs?
So definitely, I think if having an IT background and having a business background, it helps. So if you look MasterRemit, it's the background is technology. If you have a business background and technology background, definitely that will open a lot of doors for you, right? I think it's all about passion. What do you love? Doesn't matter whether you're in IT, whether you're doing doctor, pilot. If you love something, you will do well. So I'll definitely tell young people just to follow their passion, regardless what career it is.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And how many years did you now end up staying in the corporate, and how far did you go up the ladder? And then we're going to finish that. And then now we're going to go to what happened next. So
as I said earlier, I started as a software engineer in my career. Then did a lot of programming, a lot of software development. Then I moved my way to become more IT portfolio lead, which is similar to project management. So I was leading a lot of projects, for example, digital transformation. I was leading a lot of bigger projects over $30 million, $40 million, right? So I think I was in Coverable probably over 8 years. Then that's why I said, I think this time for me is to start my own thing. Then which is a hard work, of course, but definitely, you can do well if you are, have a passion about it, and if you work very hard and persistent.
So we talk about MasterRemit. How did you even start MasterRemit? Let's go back to the basics.
Yeah.
How did you now bring this idea to actualization?
So MasterRemit was born to solve a problem that I did not face, problem faced by my mother. Right? So once upon a time, I visited my mother, and she wanted to send her money back home. It was about 8 p.m., 7 p.m. evening. So she got a call from home, as we all do, send money. And so my mom was a little bit angry about it, that she couldn't send money at that time. This is back by 2015 that I'm talking about. So while we're sitting together, I said, Mom, you gotta wait until Monday or Tuesday that we can go to street agents like Western Union and MoneyGram, etc., right? Or Footscray, whichever people they go to normal send. After leaving my mom's house, I thought I can, because my background is software engineer, right? I thought I can build a technology where anyone like my mother can send money to anywhere, regardless what day, what time it is, right? So this is how it was born, right? So the next day I went back to my job, and then I started thinking about it. How can I build this technology? So, in the evening I was doing side hustle, building the technology, the platform, etc. During the day I was going to work. Weekends I was working on MasterRemit. So 2019, also I didn't mention that my brother is also a co-founder of MasterRemit, which is Hashim Umar as well. So when I decided to build, I called my brother to say, this is the problem that I think we can solve. Also my brother, he's engineer. He was working at that time in Sydney. I told him to join with me. He did. So we both launched MasterRemit into 2019 with 4 countries. Now we do so for about 20 plus countries.
And how do you even launch? Now you said you had 4 countries. How do you even launch one country?
So so one of the countries that we launched was one of the countries that my mom was having a problem, right? So it was not that hard. So it is all about looking how the need, doing a little bit of go-to-marketing strategy to determine what people are looking for. That's how we decided. And those are the countries that we launched. Most of them were African countries. And we knew at that time that there was a market for us to launch those countries because people were having the same issue as my mother was having, right?
Yeah.
So, and also the core vision of MasterRemit is to solve the financial inclusion. What I mean by financial inclusion is people who don't have access to a bank account. You and I do have a bank account, right? Either 2 or 3, right? You can go to Collins Street or Bourke Street and present yourself your driver's license and open a bank account literally within 5 minutes, right? We are privileged in terms of being in Australia, but there are some countries where people don't have that privilege. If you look countries that have gone through a civil war, people don't have a driver's license and they cannot open a bank account. So now a mobile wallet is the king, right? The mother of mobile wallet is M-Pesa, and M-Pesa has actually revolutionized the whole world in terms of technology, right?
Yeah.
Mobile wallet. So, of course, this is where we're solving the financial inclusion.
Amazing. And as a startup, what were some of the challenges? Because when you start something, there's hiccups there. So what were some of the challenges and how did you overcome these challenges as a startup?
A startup is a different landscape compared to corporate world, right? It's a totally different landscape. So corporate world, you work between 9 to 6 maximum. Then you go home, then you switch, then you go to bed and you get up in the morning and you come to the office and you start from there, right? A startup is not like that. A startup is a hustle job. At least a week, you put in about 50 to 80 hours a week, right? I can tell you, weekends you work, Saturdays you work, and every day is a learning for you because you kind of like wearing multiple hats. You can, doing CEO role, you're doing CFO role, you're doing CTO role, you're doing, different roles, right? Because in startups, they don't have a lot of money to invest resources, right? So that means that you're doing multiple jobs and you do very fast. You don't do very fast, that means things will fall down. So that's the kind of challenges that we faced, and hopefully, and all the startups do face in terms of wearing multiple hats.
And how sort of, if someone is doing a startup now and facing the same challenge, what are some of the, how did you tweak it to work for you good so that you can actually get this thing going?
Delegate. So the most important things most of CEOs or managers can do to be able to make their life easy is to delegate. Most of CEOs work on high tasks, right? High tasks. So for me is to be able to do all the hard tasks. Anything less than high tasks, I always delegate to my staff, right? So that's things that I learned a lot.
And someone might want to know, so how do you go in terms of starting a startup? How do you register somewhere? How do you go about now registering maybe a startup? Maybe a few tips you can give someone out there.
So definitely, if someone is thinking startup, and I think, don't delay it, because a lot of people procrastinate in terms of delaying what they have a passion for, right? If you have a good idea and you wanna think that there's a market fit, execute it straight away. You know, if you delayed for a year or two, someone else might have similar idea as you, and they will execute it and they will go faster. That's number one. Number two is there's a lot of resources where you can search. If you go to victoriabusiness.com, then there's a lot of templates that you can use. There's a lot of resources and templates that you can use to be able to register any company, any form or type, that whether it's single company, whether it's parenting company, whether it's trust company. There's a lot of resources that you can actually get if you go to business.victoria.
So you want to send money to your loved ones living abroad, but you want lower fees and better service. Is that so much to ask? It really isn't. From now on, you can send money with love through MasterRemit, an Australian-based online money transfer service company that lets you send money to family and friends once living back home. It is secure, convenient, trusted, and lower fees than the major banks and traditional money transfer companies, and offers great exchange rates. With MasterRemit, you can send money 24/7 using various mobile devices in Asia, Europe, Africa, Middle East, South America. Open an account now for free at masterremit.com.
And is there support from the government? Because someone wanting to start would like to know if anything goes pear-shaped, where do I run?
So there's a support. If you do your R&D in Australia or in Victoria, of course, that you will get a grant. But if you do your R&D, research and development, or your technology, or your implementation, or anything you do outside of Australia, then you don't get that. So there's different types of grants, but I'm not across all of them, but definitely if you go to fic.business, their website, then you'll be able to see different grants that are available.
So before we go now to where MasterRemit is, would you advise someone or the young people out there to go for startups? Because we tending to see people now sticking to maybe jobs and stuff. Is it a good idea to go for startups?
So it all comes about passion, all right? It's all about comes to what do you want to do. Some people might not be fit for startups. Some people might not fit for corporate job, right? It's all about what you want to do. As I said earlier, a startup is totally different than working for corporate. Believe me, it's a very hustle, very hardworking environment. You tend to wear so many hats, but if someone has got a passion about to do some startup, then go for it.
Amazing. What motivates you as the founder of MasterRemit?
Solving a problem.
Is that what motivates you?
Yes, that's for me to be able to see that someone can get up 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, download MasterRemit app from the App Store, register and send money to their loved ones back home without getting up their bed or their sofa or their home. That's what motivates me, and that's something that we are very proud of, MasterRemit team.
Amazing. So what's different about MasterRemit? Let's talk about MasterRemit. So what is different about MasterRemit than other these remitting companies out there?
That's a good question, and a lot of people do ask me about that. So MasterRemit is a home-based company, where the big one, they're not a home-based company, right? You have the opportunity to call MasterRemit 24/7 and speak to someone to solve your problem, right? That's number one. Number two, our transactions are terminated less than 3 minutes. So if you do send money to Kenya now through M-Pesa or to any network, your transaction will be completed less than 3 minutes. 3 minutes, right? That's conservative. So we are very fast, and also, if you look Kenya, our transactions are 0 fee, right? So you won't see any our competitors are giving away zero transaction, right? So you can send to Kenya with zero fee. So that's some of the difference between us and our competitors.
Amazing. And what is the future looking like for MasterRemit, and what can we expect for MasterRemit?
So future is gonna look bright in terms of MasterRemit. The team is growing at present, so it will be big announcement coming up in the next couple of weeks because we have actually completed our capital raise. So we have raised a quite big bit of money. So that is gonna inject MasterRemit in terms of growing the team, in terms of growing the company, in terms, going to another jurisdiction. So there's going to be a lot of changes coming up in the next couple of years.
Amazing. And a quick question, because so many things are happening at the moment. There's hacking. How safe is MasterRemit? Because this is an app on your phone. You have the database and everything. How safe is MasterRemit?
MasterRemit is safe. MasterRemit has similar security capabilities as a bank. We take customers' data very seriously. We make sure that no one has access to the data. Given that my background is technology, we make sure that we are the only company that gives you two-factor authentication. Come check that. If you go to our website, you can set up your own two-factor authentication. Other competitors, they don't give you two-factor authentication, right? That's one thing. Of course, we last year, as part of capital raise, we did penetration testing, and all the security people do know that. So to make sure that website is secured, and we've given a certificate of that. So we are making sure that every day that MasterRemit is very secure.
So with young people, what can they expect from MasterRemit?
So we did advertise a job last month. And now we hired 3 employees, and each of them came from different countries from Africa. So that tells you that of course we want to give back that to the community, and also what we do normally is when job comes, we do advertise through our customers, and we also make sure that we let the communities know that there's a job available, right? So as I said to you, we hired 3 people, and those 3 people came from different countries from within Africa, right?
Amazing.
Then okay. Then how do people know if there's a job available for MasterRemit, right? So we normally advertise on our website, www.masterremit.com. We also advertise Seek. We also advertise in LinkedIn as well.
What, at large, the community, what should the community expect from MasterRemit?
So MasterRemit do a lot of community sponsorship. We do that every single year, whether it's a Kenyan Independence Day, whether it's Ghana Independence Day, whether it's Nigerian, Somalian, South Sudanese. So that's how we give, right? Of course. And you don't see that a lot of other competitors do that. So, of course, we are a company wants to make revenue, of course, but that revenue also goes back to the community in terms of whether it is gala dinner, or whether there's a flood in South Sudan, or whether there's some disaster happening in somewhere in Africa, right? We do actually give away as well.
Amazing. And is it worth it? All this that you've done and where you are now, is MasterRemit worth it?
It is worth it. Yeah, definitely it's worth it. I'll tell you why, right? Because MasterRemit is serving people, and to serve people that don't have access to a financial inclusion, right? You cannot go to Commonwealth Bank now, send money to Kenya. That will take about 3 days to 4 days, right? With MasterRemit, you can do that less than 3 minutes, right? So, what motivates me a lot, as I said to you before, was to solve a problem. And the problem is started through my family, now to the whole community, which is giving access to the people, and especially when COVID-19 happened, right? When COVID-19 happened, a lot of people didn't have access to go to street agents to send money, right? But by knowing about MasterRemit, they can download the app and use MasterRemit 24/7.
As an African migrant, young people, advice to them. So this is where I want you to share something with our young people as we finish. So advice to young people.
Young people have a lot of confidence in themselves. They can be whatever they want to be. For example, myself, when I migrated to Australia, we were the first migrants who came in the 90s. I did my schooling here. I did high school, I went to university, and I worked in the corporate world, right? So as one of my advice to young people is you can be who you want to be. Be confident in yourself. I did it. A lot of people have done it. You just need to work very hard, believing in yourself. And if you've been rejected, one or two, just keep moving, because that's how the life works. You get rejected one time, you will get rejected twice, but then third time you won't get rejected. You need to keep pushing. There's a lot of opportunities that you can do, and also you can follow your passion and do whatever that you want to do. So if you want to know more about MasterRemit, also sometimes we do mentorship. We mentor young people in terms of giving them a bit of leadership management and give them a bit of skills that they need in order to be able to upskill themselves. We can do that as well. But to answer your question, if you want to know more about MasterRemit, just go to our website, www.masterremit.com. You can also download our app from the App Store. Whether you have an Android or an iOS, our app are available in the app stores.